All right, we're back. The mix has been going for about 5 or 6 minutes. It's only on speed 2, so it's just one above that stir speed, okay? And I've just kind of let it set and incorporate a little bit. Now, if your dough is a little too loose or a little too soft, you know, like as far as if it feels too sticky for you or if it's sticking to the sides of the bowl, maybe add another tablespoon of flour. Or if the dough tends to be tough or a little too stiff for you, then just add maybe a tablespoon of water, either or. Mine seems to have worked pretty good today, so evidently the elements in the room are working in my favor, so that's a good thing. I'm just gonna go ahead and turn off my stand mixer and then lower it down, and I'm able to just, the dough peels away from that dough hook so well. I'm gonna take it out. Now you can kind of see how smooth that dough is. Now that's the consistency you want. It's nice and soft, okay? It's pliable, it's not too tough, but it's not so soft that it's kind of just plopping everywhere, okay? For lack of words. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna spray just the inside of a regular mixing bowl. This is like a ceramic bowl. And then I formed it into a nice ball. It's gonna go top side down, and then you're gonna flip it over so that the top part is coated now with a little bit of that oil, okay? So then in order to make the proofing process work really well, I put plastic wrap over the top. Now some people put a damp towel over it, and that works too. I find if you put plastic wrap over it, the dough is still warm from the warm water. So if you put a nice tight seal of plastic wrap over it, that heat stays right in there and there's no place for it to go but to stay in the dough. And it just rises so well. I've had great luck with this proofing process. So if you want to go ahead, if you haven't done this at home, give it a try, because it definitely works. A little bit easier than a damp towel, I think, but it's totally up to you. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna set this on the back of my stove, and it's gonna rise for about an hour until it's good and doubled, and more than doubled in size, okay? So it's gonna pretty much fill this bowl. And then when we come back, I'll show you how to cut and form the hamburger buns and how to do a small little roll of hot dog rolls, and then we'll bake them off and you'll be able to see the end result. I'm so excited. So don't go away, we'll be back in about an hour or so. Hey everybody, we're back. The dough has doubled in size, a little more than doubled, which is perfect. It's filled the bowl. Now you can see the plastic wrap here is nice and tight, and as it was rising, you could see this expanding and getting tighter, and I knew that created just the perfect proofing station, so to speak, for this dough. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this plastic wrap off the dough, and you can feel the moisture in the plastic wrap already. And the dough is all ready to go. Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna have to have one more rising session, and that's after we form all of the buns for this, okay? But first I'm just gonna punch the dough down, all right, just to get all of the air out of it. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna weigh it, okay? Because this recipe makes about between 8 and 10 buns. I'm gonna set that right in the sink because we're not gonna need that anymore. And I'm gonna go ahead and weigh this. All right, so this is about 2 pounds, 8 ounces, right around that. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna divide all of this dough into equal portions. Okay, so what's that? There's 16 ounces to a pound, right? So that's 32, and 8 is 40. So if we divide 8 into 40, that's about 5 ounces per bun, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna divide this. This dough feels fantastic. I just use a regular like pastry cutter for this. And then I'm gonna just kind of roughly divide this into 8 sections. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna kind of add and subtract as we go, okay? So 5 ounces about for that. So that is right on the money, just about. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna keep measuring these, And then what I'm gonna do is when I come back, after all 8 have been measured, then I'll show you how to form the buns. So I'll be right back in just a few minutes. All right, I'm back. I got all 8 of them here. I just kind of moved the scale out of the way. If you don't have a scale, it's just, I think it's so important to have one, especially when you're trying to measure out buns or measure out equal portions of dough when you're making like bread. My regular white bread recipe makes 2 loaves at a time, and lots of times I'll double or triple that depending on how many loaves I need to make. If I'm making them for someone else, or I'm making up a bunch of sandwiches to take someplace for like a party or things like that. So a scale is so important. So if you don't have one, run out and get one. Okay, some of them you can get digital scales, so you can do grams versus ounces and pounds. I tend to go more on the ounces and pounds, but the grams they have great converters on the digital scales as well. So whatever you prefer, go right out and get one. So I've got 8 here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make 4 hamburger buns and 4 hot dog buns. Then that way you can kind of see both aspects of it and kind of how to do it. Now the hot dog buns you can make, we up here in New England, we have the split top kind. So you can do that, or you can do the regular traditional hot dog buns where you cut them on the length side. So whatever you'd like to do. I have some sesame seeds in this bowl because on my hamburger buns, I am going to put sesame seeds on the top. Now you don't have to if you don't want to. It's definitely a preference if you want to or if you don't want to. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Now I have a couple of different dishes here. I've got a regular baking sheet, a regular cookie sheet lined with some parchment paper. And then I have a regular Pyrex glass dish. And this one is 8 by 6. So 8 by 6 and 2 inches tall. This is perfect for hot dog buns because I'm gonna lay them lengthwise. And it's just the 6 inches here is just perfect for hot dog buns. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead with the hamburger buns first. So all you're gonna do is you're gonna take the dough and you're just gonna roll it in the palm of your hand, or you can roll it on the counter. Now this dough has a great consistency to it because it's not super sticky. It has a lot of gluten that's in it because it's been rising and it's got a lot of good pull on it. But you're just gonna work it in the palm of your hand, okay? Just like that. Now what I like to do is I kind of tuck in the edges. See this? Just like this. To get a nice smooth top. And then I take the bottom of it and I pinch it closed and then just kind of push down on my thumb. And the reason for that is just the bottom of your bun really isn't gonna show too much, but you want the tops nice and smooth. And then I'm just gonna kind of push it down. Now, if you wanna go ahead and measure these, you can, but you want them about 3 inches in diameter. All right, so you can kind of eyeball it if you want to. But I just kind of push it down. And then I'm gonna go ahead and dip it into the sesame seed bun mix and then lay it right on the top there, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna do 3 more of these and then we'll come back and we'll do the hot dog buns next. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna work on the hot dog buns. Now I'm gonna give my baking, my glass baking dish just a quick spray. Doesn't have to be a lot, just a little quick spray just so that these don't stick. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do basically is I'm just gonna make a hot dog bun. Now you can get creative however you wanna do it, but I start with a roll like this, and then what I'm gonna do after that is I'm gonna take it from one end and I'm gonna start to roll it just like that, keeping a nice tight roll all the way to the end. So this kind of just looks just like an egg roll. So, and then I'm gonna set it in to the baking dish just like that. Okay, so I kind of get all the air out of it with the palm of my hand like this, and then I just start at one end, keeping a nice tight roll and rolling it all the way. Now, like I said, every hot dog bun, we don't have a mold here, okay, so it's not gonna look just like the store, but it's gonna look pretty good when it's all done. Now, the reason why I do these in a dish is because they kind of have to touch each other a little bit when they're rising, or else they're just gonna keep going, they're gonna go like this instead of up. So what I like to do is I like to put them in a you know, in a smaller baking dish. If you have one even smaller than the 6x8, if you have like a 6x6, that would probably work really well. I have a 6x6 cake pan, square cake pan, that I could have definitely used. It's aluminum, which would have worked fine. Would have just sprayed and maybe floured it just a hair, but this one is gonna work out fine, okay? So there's number 2. So I'm gonna do 2 more of these, and then we'll be good to go. Now, after these 2 are done, like I said, I'm gonna put these right on the stove, and I'm gonna let them rise again, okay? So we're gonna let them rise, and then before we put them in the oven, just as they're starting to rise, and actually I'll probably do it in just a minute, as soon as I form this last one, I'm gonna dig those, I'm gonna take those hamburger buns, and I'm gonna score the top of them. Now you don't have to do this, but it's just kind of fun. It's a little decorative thing that you can do just to kind of make them, I don't know, maybe more authentic, more unique, okay? So same with the hot dog buns here. I'm gonna score the tops of them. So when they bake, that top has a little slit in the top. Now, if you have one of those dough scorers, or if you've ever scored bread before, you know that there's quite an art to it. I don't get super fancy because I do it before it starts to really rise. So there's less of a chance of it completely deflating. So I'm kind of a chicken when it comes to that stuff. Maybe I just don't trust myself. I don't know. But okay, there's number 4 there.